If you want to learn how to create a black smoky eye, keep on watching. The first thing you need to do is to add a base to the eyelid. I like to use the MAC paint pots because it's a really nice and creamy eyeshadow base and it dries really matte, which means it doesn't actually look shiny, it's not going to crease, and the powder eyeshadow is going to stick on top and last the whole day. So I'm just getting a little bit on my brush and I am applying all over my eyelid, always using a circular motion. It doesn't matter if you're using a powder or cream. So this way you can actually apply the product evenly all over the eyelid. A little bit more. Now, the next step is to use a brown pencil. I like to start with browns because brown is not as strong as black, obviously, and black can be really hard to blend. So I always like to start with the brown base first, and then I go over with the black. So I'm just going to use a brown pencil, and I'm just going to apply that on my eyelid, but really close to the lash line because we want to make sure that the color it's coming from the bottom up, and a little bit on the bottom as well. Now we need a synthetic brush to blend that. So I'm just gonna smudge the edges. We're gonna start softening all the edges, and that is going to give us a really nice base to start layering the black on top. It needs to be a really creamy pencil, otherwise you can't really get that softness when you start blending. And a little bit on the bottom as well. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So I am just applying that really close to my lash line. And then I'm gonna use a synthetic brush, synthetic fluffy brush, and I'm gonna start smudging that color. So you can always go back and forwards and then small circular motions to make sure you're actually blending the color into that cream eyeshadow that we applied first. So the objective here is to have a really soft edge. So a bit of a smudge there. So I'm just going to try to get rid of that. I don't want that mark. And the same thing on the bottom. Here, you need to try to go really close to the lash line as well, because that looks a little bit more natural. Okay, so you can already see that one side is a little bit stronger than the other. So we're going to apply a little bit more of that pencil on this side, because I have a light behind there, so I can't see properly. I'm just applying a little bit more here. And I'm going to blend. Okay, so I have two really nice bases for my black smoky eye. What I need to think about now is the transition shades between the color and the eyelid. I'm going to use this palette. This one is by Krylon. It is the Velvet Vision Velvet 2. It's one of the new eyeshadow palettes. These eyeshadows are really nice and silky. You have very little fallout, if any, and it just blends like a dream. I have my brushes here on the side, so I'm gonna get a clean fluffy brush now, and I'm gonna mix some of these colors. I'm gonna close my eye and I'm gonna go on the crease. So again, I'm just working on that transition between the eyelid to the eyeshadow. I don't want to have a blob with the color and then the eyelid sitting on top. I want to have a really nice soft and diffused finish to that look. With the smoky eye, you can actually create whatever angle you want to. You can elongate the eye, you can make the eye look shorter and rounder. This is entirely up to you how you actually place the eyeshadow. I like to elongate my eye a little bit. So I'm just going a little bit over the crease and I'm going to try to kind of lift my eyelid. I'm going to bring that same color on the bottom of the eye. Really close there. I have something on my eye I have to clean. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I am working on that transition from what we already created. And this kind of brush actually going to give you a really nice and soft application. I don't want to place too much of the color just yet. I just want to create a bit of a transition between the eyeshadow and my eyelid. And here I'm just going to go over the crease a little bit because I want to try to elongate my eye. And I'm going to bring that same color under the eye. Now with the flat brush, I am going to start applying the black. So I'm just getting the black here. And what I want to do, I want to get really close to the lash line. And I'm just going to push the color like that. So I'm just placing that really close to the lash line. And I'm going to blend that out. Because I already have a base, I have another eyeshadow. It's going to slide in really easily. I'm bringing it all the way to the inner corner as well. And now I'm just patting a little bit more. The idea is to make the eyeshadow look a little bit more intense. So I'm actually using that same brush with the black eyeshadow and I'm placing that really close to the lash line. You see how I'm just using the tip of the brush just to deposit the color really close to the lash line and frame the eyes a little bit more. And I'm going to start lifting the eye. Now with my fluffy brush, I'm just going to blend everything a little bit more because I want to have a transition between the black and the brown. And to make that transition more natural, I'm actually using this big fluffy brush in a small circular motion because that's going to help me create a really natural transition. Now that we framed the eyes with the eyeshadow and the cream pencil, I'm going to use a pencil to define the eyes a little bit more. We need to apply the black on the waterline. So what I'm doing here, I'm basically just pulling my eyelid down and I'm completing that line with the pencil. Any product that's placed on the waterline needs to be waterproof. This pencil is really good, it's very long lasting, and it doesn't actually hurt my eye as well. Okay, now I'm just going to apply a little bit of mascara. So you do like a zigzag motion and you cover all the hairs from bottom to top. Now I'm looking at this and I also need to tightline. So tightlining is basically filling up the gaps between the root of your lash and the skin on your eye. So I'm doing here, I'm just lifting my eyelid and I'm going on the waterline but on the top of my eye. It can feel really uncomfortable, but that definitely changes the whole look. And that's how you create a black smoky eye. If you like this video and want to learn a little bit more about makeup, subscribe to my channel.